Thanks, Kate. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Tony Stride. I'm the Principal Investigator for the National Center for Afterschool and Summer Enrichment, or NCASE as we're known. And on behalf of myself and our team, I'm very excited to welcome you all to this webinar introducing the NCASE School Age Consumer Education Toolkit. This new toolkit is something we've been working on for some time as a direct response to state technical assistance requests. We've tried very hard to make it useful to a variety of stakeholders, though, providing school-age specific state examples and resources on physical health and development, on social and emotional health and development, and on parent and family engagement. We're very excited to be sharing it with you today for the first time. We're especially fortunate today because in addition to having you all join us, we're honored to have Shannon Christian, Director of the Office of Child Care at the Administration for Children and Family, join us and graciously agree to open our webinar with a few remarks. Shannon, welcome.
Thank you, and thanks for that nice introduction. I was fortunate enough to get to see this several weeks ago as it was being finalized, and was so excited with how nicely it had been laid out, how interactive it was, how it could provide so many different kinds of resources to policymakers and providers that would be putting together programs that would work in their locality. So it's nice to have all of that easily findable in one place. And I loved the video and the way the video that you'll get to see reached out beyond just providers, but would show everybody who was thinking about after-school care, what it looked like, how grateful the families were if they found something that met their needs, and how the child was going to be so happy there, and it showed pictures from real after-school programs that are operating now, so you could visualize what we were talking about and not just imagine. And so I thought they've done such a good job that when I saw the opportunity to talk to you, I thought I would just jump right on, and hope you like it all as much as we do. So I don't have a lot of specifics because that's what you get next. So mostly I say welcome, use this, make sure you share it with as many people as you think it would help, and thanks for joining the call this morning.
Thanks so much, Shannon. We really appreciate you taking the time to join us and underscoring OCC's commitment to both school age and to consumer education. Now I'd like to welcome our presenters for today. I'm joined by my NCASE colleagues Preeti Washington and Suzanne Birdsall-Stone, as well as Dr. Kim Eagleman with the National Center on Parent, Family, and Community Engagement. Preeti will begin by sharing a little bit more about NCASE and our work.
Thank you, Tony. As we mentioned, NCASE is part of a national training and technical assistance system that's by the Administration for Children and Families Office of Child Care. Now, this network of national centers supports states, territories, and tribes in implementing CCDF to provide low-income families who are working or in school, participating in education, with help paying for child care. And so within this network, NCASE has the opportunity to focus on school-age children and really works to ensure that they have increased access to after-school and summer learning experiences that will contribute to their overall development and their academic achievement. And there are a number of terms that you may hear when we're talking about services and care for school-age children. And so I'd like to take a moment to clarify what we mean as we use these terms during our presentation. So you'll see we have school-age care, and that refers to the age of children served, and that's differentiated from infant, toddler, and preschool care. When we say out of school time, that refers to programming outside of the school day, and so that can include before care, after school, summers, weekends, and family or center-based child care. And finally, our national center is named Afterschool and Summer Enrichment, and we use this interchangeably with out of school time. So now, of the many components that are necessary to support children and families, one is consumer education and engagement, and that's why we're here today. And so at this time, I'm very happy to introduce Kim Engelman with the National Center on Parent-Family Engagement, and she's going to provide some background and context on the subject. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you, Preeti. And thanks to everyone joining today. I really appreciate the opportunity to be with you today and to share a little about the National Center on Parent, Family, and Community Engagement's work in this area, namely consumer education. My job here is to provide a little context about what we mean by consumer education and consumer engagement and how these concepts and activities sit within a larger context of family engagement. So let's start with what we mean by consumer education, which you see on the left side of your screen. Consumer education refers to providing parents with information to help them build on their knowledge and understanding of things such as quality and options in early childhood and school-age care and education programs, child development, developmental screenings, services for children with disabilities, and prevention of suspensions and expulsions. CCDF subsidies and other financial assistance families can use to help pay for early childhood and school-age care and education. Policies, procedures, and regulations, for example, licensing, monitoring, and background checks, and comprehensive services to support family well-being, such as health, human, and economic services. It's important for consumer education to be culturally and linguistically responsive, and it's also important that consumer education be tailored to match parents' interests and preferences and be based on data and research representative of children and families with whom you are working. Consumer education tends to focus on the one-way transmission of information to parents. At the same time, early childhood and school-age professionals recognize education as a shared experience that involves both giving and receiving information. And we build on the idea of shared experience using the term consumer engagement. Consumer engagement goes beyond making information available, making information available to families, and consumer engagement relies on two-way relationship-based interactions between families and early childhood and school-age professionals. Parents and professionals share information with one another and work together to build on each other's knowledge and capacities. As families expand their knowledge and leadership capacities, they can become more effective in finding and applying research-based information. For example, to inform their choices about a program for their child, monitoring their child's experiences in a program, or use their voices to advocate for higher quality and equitable access to services. As early childhood and school-age professionals expand their knowledge and capacities, they can become more effective in inviting and responding to families' interests and values and supporting and partnering with families and other stakeholders. This slide shows a draft version of NCPFCE's Early Childhood Parent, Family, and Community Engagement Framework. If you're familiar with Head Start's PFCE framework, some of this will look familiar to you. And as I mentioned, this early childhood or child care version of the framework is in draft form presently. We're sharing a preview of it with you today because it's useful for seeing how consumer education and consumer engagement fit within the larger context of family engagement system building. The framework is a roadmap for building family engagement strategies across the most relevant early childhood system components. Consumer education and engagement is a system component, of course. The definitions we just reviewed on the prior slide along with the strengths-based attitudes and culturally responsive practices, are a robust set of strategies that situate the consumer education system component in the early childhood PFCE framework, making consumer ed and engagement a critical part of the roadmap and a critical part of family engagement system building in states. When systems and programs effectively engage with families as valued consumers, families can more easily make informed decisions in finding and choosing programs for their children. Through consumer engagement, we build on this and recognize families in their roles as decision makers, resourceful users of programs, trusted peers who share information about high-quality programs, and leaders and advocates for their children, themselves, and their communities. System-level leaders can model for other early childhood and school-age care and education professionals through their active efforts to learn from family feedback and to use it to improve quality. You can learn more about these concepts and specific strategies for them in other NCPFCE resources. And also later in today's presentation, I'll chime in with a list of related resources that will be coming out soon. And for now, I'll turn the presentation back over to Preeti, who will take it from here.
Thank you very much, Kim. It's really encouraging and inspiring to see a growing recognition of the critical role that parents and families play in children's development. NCASE is really proud to support this work through the development of this toolkit. And as we noted before, we work with the early childhood TNTA system to support parent and family engagement across the continuum. So let's dig in, everybody. Now, NCASE developed this interactive consumer education toolkit. It's a PDF, and it's intended to provide school-age specific state examples and resources on physical health and development, social and emotional health and development, and parent and family engagement. Now, these are areas that contribute to children's development and academic success. And it's designed for several audiences: state CCDF administrators who may wish to share their product or these resources on their consumer education websites, child care resource and referral agencies who may find these resources useful for their staff and for providers and parents, and also providers of school-age child care who may use these resources for staff training and also share them with families. Visitors to the toolkit will find resources and state examples on those areas that I've already highlighted: physical health and development, social and emotional health and development, and parent and family engagement. Part of the introduction to the school-age consumer education toolkit is a brief but very informative video that provides information around the importance of after-school and summer school-age care. And we'd like to start off by sharing this video with you now.
Great. Thanks, Preeti. This is Kate with NCASE, and as I move over to our video layout, Shannon had a couple more comments. So Shannon, feel free to share those, and I will let our layout and our video load.
Okay, thank you for that opportunity. I wanted to mention two things: that in the reauthorization of our the law for that governs the block grant that subsidizes families with their child care, it was required that states by the end of September of this year have developed a zip code search for the child care in their area. And since a lot of after-school programs are license exempt, and states have the option to skip license exempt when they put these zip code searches together, if any of you on the phone are policymakers, we think over here at Office of Child Care that it would be really great if states, to the extent possible, included all of the after-school providers, even if they're exempt from licensing, into the zip code search, because of the points you were making earlier about this needing to be a consumer education resource. It's going to be frustrating for people if we don't make the after-school choices available to them as well. So that's just a plug for doing that to the extent possible. I know there are a little bit of privacy concerns if somebody's after-school program is in their home or something. They may not want that plastered all over the place in a zip code search. But for a lot of them, that may not be a concern, and it would be worth putting that out there. Then the second thing I wanted to mention is that I think it's a little bit confusing when we call something like this consumer education, because it is one step removed. And I guess I'd like all of you, as you're talking about how people use this, to make sure that we're clear that this is to help providers and policymakers and administrators, for the most part, shape programs that include parents and reach parents and inform parents. But the toolkit itself, and tell me if I'm wrong because I could be, is largely aimed at our primary audience, which is not necessarily the parent, but the people who serve the parents.
No, that's correct, Shannon. Thank you so much for those comments.
So as you guys are doing your remarks today, if you could kind of keep that separation in mind and talk about the role, how the things that you're saying and how this toolkit is used eventually manages to accomplish the pieces that you laid out in that parent engagement, parent education piece that you went through so nicely a few minutes ago. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Very important comments and considerations. Appreciate you chiming in, Shannon.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And I'm going to go ahead and share the video. And for those of you on the webinar, again, it'll be playing through your computer speakers. And so we hope it plays seamlessly for you. One tip is that if you're running other external applications, it might slow down your bandwidth and you might experience some delays. So you might want to close those applications. And the video is about 4 minutes long, and we will be resuming our presentation afterwards.
Maya and Jay's parents both work hard to provide for their family's needs and their future. Both parents must leave the house by 7:30 a.m. to commute to work. Dad gets home first at around 6 p.m., but school starts at 8:30 and ends at 3. Like many parents, Mom and Dad need childcare to stay employed, but their combined income can't cover the costs. School-age childcare gives kids like Jay and Maya a safe, fun place to go when school is out. When people think of childcare, they often think of very young children. But 45% of all children served through federal childcare subsidies are aged 5 through 12. School-age care is paid for in a variety of ways, such as through parent fees, private funders, and federal subsidies and grants. The Federal Office of Child Care within the Administration for Children and Families supports low-income working families by providing access to affordable, high-quality early care and after-school programs. OCC administers the Child Care and Development Fund, or CCDF, and works with state, territory, and tribal governments to provide support for children and their families juggling work schedules and struggling to find child care programs that will fit their needs and prepare their children to succeed in school. Through CCDF, an average of 627,000 school-age children across the country are served each month during out-of-school time, which covers a time period before and after school, as well as school vacation weeks and summers. During those times, school-age childcare provides a place where children are safe and engaged in enriching activities. Summer is a critical time for working parents with school-age children. In fact, in the summer months, there is an increase in the number of children served through CCDF. Families need more hours of care, and their children need quality experiences that address learning loss and keep them on track for the school year ahead. Quality programs focus on continuous improvement in child and youth development, health and safety, family engagement, and other critical elements. and staff are trained in health and safety standards such as first aid, CPR, medication administration, prevention and response to emergencies, and precautions in transporting children. This health and safety training gives parents peace of mind that their children are well cared for while they are at work. The nice thing is that school-age childcare takes place in many different settings across the country. Schools or centers, family child care programs, and in children's own homes. No matter where it takes place, school-age care gives children like Jay and Maya the encouragement to try new things and helps prepare them for a bright future. And there is a wealth of data that shows quality school-age childcare increases positive outcomes for children. With a little help, Maya and Jay's parents found both quality childcare and subsidies to help them afford it. Their family is just one of tens of thousands of families that can be strengthened through school-age childcare.
Hopefully everyone was able to stick with the video. We're really excited to premiere it today, and it will be included as part of the Consumer Education Toolkit. So if you were unable to hear it or had some issues with playback, you'll get access to it soon enough. So I'm going to turn this back over to Preeti.
Thank you very much, Kate. And so now that you've had an opportunity, hopefully, to enjoy the video, we would actually like to go ahead and show you the toolkit. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Kate? There we go. So here we are. So the toolkit opens with an overview explaining what the toolkit is about, the why behind it, and gives a bit of information about those three topics that we discussed earlier. The first section of the toolkit is physical health and development, and it illustrates, well, let me back up a bit, but it really illustrates how each of the consumer education topics that we're highlighting are set up, and you can see that from this screen. First, you'll see a banner, the colored portion at the top of the screen, and that provides a brief description of the topic. This is really important to help understand the importance of each of these topics when it comes to making informed choices about child care. Below that, you'll see three tabs. The first, what is it, gives a bit more detail on what the topic entails. This is followed by a section with state examples. And we think that this is really helpful to see examples of what each topic looks like in motion or in actual practice. It's always nice to see what our colleagues are doing. And finally, there's a section on resources. And these resources provide not only additional information, but many times they will also include national standards and other relevant regulations that help share program practices. And I am actually going to go back a bit to our initial tab because one of the physical health and development resources that we wanted to share is called Let's Go 5210, and it's a program that is in Maine. And we added this because we believe it does, as all of the resources, but it does a nice job of promoting the importance of physical activity and nutrition for school-age children through resources and videos for both parents and practitioners. So as I've mentioned before, the toolkit actually has three sections. And at this time, I am very happy to introduce my colleague, Suzanne Birdsall-Stone, and she's going to review the other sections. And while she's describing, I'm going to drive, and we are confident that this is going to go really well. Suzanne.
Thank you, Preeti. This next section is on social and emotional health and development. There is a growing emphasis on social and emotional health across youth-serving fields. These skills are developed over time and through repeated experiences in school, out-of-school settings, and at home. Our hope is that in making these resources available to providers and families, it will support them in becoming more effective partners to help youth develop healthy social and emotional skills in all of these settings. So I'm going to walk us through each tab in this section, starting with what is it? Under this tab, we cite the Collaborative for Academic, Social, and Emotional Learning, CASEL's, definition of social emotional learning as the process through which children and adults acquire and apply the knowledge, attitudes, and skills necessary to understand and manage their emotions, set and achieve positive goals, feel and show empathy for others, establish and maintain positive relationships, and make responsible decisions. Moving into the next tab under State Examples, we have an example from California. This tool, Quality Standards in Extended Learning, Creating and Implementing a Shared Vision of Quality, addresses a variety of stakeholders. It was created in partnership between the California Afterschool Network and the California Department of Education Afterschool Division. It highlights 12 quality standards and what they should look like in out-of-school time. It provides a framework of clear expectations for all stakeholders, a guide to inform the after-school division's decision-making, for program providers to self-assess for program improvement, and for parents and youth to identify quality programming. And positive social and emotional development is incorporated in multiple sections, such as safe and supportive environments, active and engaged learning, skill building, and youth voice and leadership. Onto the Resources tab. You will see a long list of resources for you to explore. You really will. Yeah, and if, yeah, back one.
Are we
Back to the,
back
one to the resources. Back one to the resource tab for the social and emotional. So there's a long list of resources here. Of course, we won't go through all of them, but one example, the first resource there is from the Search Institute, and it's directed to parents, and it's about bringing developmental relationships home, so tips and relationship builders to offer everyday ideas and activities that parenting adults can use to improve the developmental relationships in their families. So there are resources targeted to a variety of different audiences, and you'll be able to look at that after our webinar. This third section focuses on parent and family engagement and provides resources that offer guidance on promising strategies to engage parents and families in supporting their children's learning and growth, including through out-of-school time settings. The resources include general tips for how to build positive, partnership-oriented relationships with families, as well as specific action step programs to take to gather input from families and use this information to enhance the services they provide to children. This section includes several state-level examples of family engagement efforts that can be applied to other states and territories, as well as additional resources under the Resource tab, such as Build the Out-of-School Time Network, BOSTNet's Engaging Families Toolkit. And if you could scroll to page 4. BOSTNet created this toolkit to offer out-of-school time programs a variety of resources to strengthen their family engagement work. And this particular page on page 4 shows a checklist for programs to self-assess their current practice in welcoming engagement and involvement with parents and families. From the results of this, they can make strategic changes in their practice. So it's a great hands-on tool, and there are a lot of hands-on tools in here. We hope that you find these resources valuable to help strengthen and promote these important topics in your work. And that completes the demonstration, and we can return to the presentation, Kate.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Suzanne. And I know as we're showing this, you may have some thoughts or some questions, and I would like to encourage everyone to please utilize the chat pod to ask any questions that you may have. So now that you've seen the toolkit or preview of the toolkit, we really want to hear from you, and we want to learn how you envision using the tool. And so at this time, we have another poll, and we would like you to take a moment to complete it. We've identified a few areas, and you can definitely select more than one. And also, if there's another way, if you have other ways that you can think of that you might use the toolkit that are not included in this list, please use the chat pod to share that with us. So we'll give about a minute to do that. Thank you so much. There was a way to have music. You all don't want to hear me sing, trust me. Wonderful. It looks like a lot of people are saying that they would share this with providers, and that's wonderful. And also just to inform us on what quality school-age care looks like. That's great. We'll give it another few seconds. We really do appreciate your feedback and your insight and your input. It means a lot. You know how when you work on something a lot and you're in it, sometimes it's helpful to either take a step back or get others to take a look at it also and let you know if you're doing what you've intended to do. So this is great. Thank you so much. Let's go ahead and close the poll for now. So as I've mentioned, you know, our goal is to provide relevant and useful information, and we also plan to update the toolkit as we find additional helpful and relevant resources. And so speaking of resources, I wanted to invite Kim back. As we mentioned before, she's going to share some resources that we can look forward to receiving soon. Kim.
Thank you. So the National Center on Parent, Family, and Community Engagement soon will be introducing some resources that work very nicely with the toolkit introduced today. The resources listed here on this slide will be posted on CCTA in the coming weeks and months. Consumer engagement and orientation for early childhood and school-age care and education professionals. This overviews consumer education and explores a vision for consumer engagement. Another resource is consumer engagement strategies for engaging families. We also will be disseminating, creating a family-friendly website resource. This is NCPFCE's guide to creating family-friendly websites, and it addresses ways to create and organize web content so that families can find, understand, and use information they need. Another resource is engaging families through social media. Social media is a source of information for many families, and we want to make sure that we meet families in that place online where they are. And then an outreach guide for engaging all families. So be watching for these useful resources coming soon to you on CCTA. Preeti?
Thanks again, Kim. So we have shared some wonderful information with you today, and I hope that you agree. We did receive some wonderful feedback in the chat pod, and I'd like to thank and recognize everyone that took the time to provide that input. So in addition to the toolkit, NCASE is happy to provide and proud to provide our NCASE resource library, and that connects you with tools, profiles, and information on a range of 11 key topics in out-of-school time. And some of these topics are family and community engagement, subsidy, eligibility, and equal access, and summer learning. and we update the resource library regularly with the most current and relevant information. We always welcome questions, ideas, and feedback, so please do not hesitate to reach out to us. And I just want to thank you all so much for taking the time. We had allocated a full hour, but you know, it's always nice to have some extra time back at the end of an event. But we really thank you for taking the time and including us in your busy schedules. And thank you for all of the work that you do for children and families across the country. I did want to say that the toolkit will be posted shortly on the Early Childhood Training and Technical Assistance website, and we will send that link in our follow-up email message. And finally, please take a moment to complete the evaluation that's going to open when we conclude. And so if my colleagues have anything else they would like to add, please do so. And I want to ask everyone to please enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you again.